entrepreneurship skill and innovative skill for the students to become an entrepreneur. So in that webinar series, today we are organizing this webinar very specifically for women, how they become an entrepreneur. For that, we have very experienced speaker today with us, Mrs. E. Madam Vanadi Devi. I am very happy to welcome Madam Vanadi Devi, partner at Pushta Expedition, director at Fairwell Cargo Private Limited, founder president, Southern Industrial Academy for Women Entrepreneurs Development. So she has been introduced by our colleague, Professor Bharati Garisankar, because she has very close association with the madam, and since she belongs to the Department of Women's Studies, is very actively coordinating with the University of Madras and organizing various activities related to women empowerment, women's role in social and academic forum. So that's why we have very happy to invite Madam for this national webinar on opportunities and avenues entrepreneurship for women. Welcome you, Madam.
Thank you, sir.
I'm also happy to welcome my colleagues, notable partners, Professor Bharati Garisankar,
Thank you, sir.
Professor Swarnam, and Dr. Manjula, and the research scholars of Dr. Manjula, who has taken efforts to prepare this brochure webinar notification, and we are also thankful to them for their sincere and hard work to prepare this program. I also welcome all the participants, those who have registered for this online webinar. I think we have almost 200 registered participants, and we are also offering through YouTube mode also. So whoever not able to join in this, they can also join in under the YouTube program. So this is very important and interesting topic for today's circumstances, because now how one should become an entrepreneur, what are the difficulties to enter into the entrepreneur, how we have to start. There is always problem in the startup. So how we have to start up and how we can take our business, our entrepreneur program into effective. That is why we are organizing this webinar. For that, we have Innotel project that Madam will give the brief note about our project and objectives, what we are doing and what is our vision through this project. So with this brief note, once again, I extend very warm welcome to Madam and all other participants who have joined this program through online. Welcome you all. Thank you. And
Yeah.
Good evening. I join with my project partners, Dr. Kodandaraman and Dr. Swarnam, in extending at a very personal level a very warm welcome to all of you. It's heartwarming to see that so many of you are interested and you have joined us at the end of, I'm sure, a very long day for all of you. The Innotel project, which expands as the integrating of talent development into innovation ecosystems in higher education, is a project funded by the Erasmus Plus program of the European Union, and it is a multi-nation project with 5 European Union partners as well as 4 universities in India, 2 universities each from Philippines, Nepal and Sri Lanka. So as far as the project, which is a 3-year project which we will be winding up very soon, as far as the project is concerned, our focus is to create avenues for building capacity in entrepreneurship education, as well as improving the employment and employability potential of our graduates. So, in other words, the purpose is to look at how entrepreneurship need not be just one unit in many of our courses, but instead to mainstream entrepreneurship in our education, research, as well as extension activities. So, as part of the project, we have also initiated a talent co-creation lab with the equipments coming out of the project, and very soon, I mean, the lab has been launched, but we hope to add e-resources as well as ICT tools so that we can start encouraging our students to take up live projects even when they are in the university. But the other aspect that the team from Madras University is doing is to focus on social entrepreneurship in particular. The reason that we are putting forward social entrepreneurship as our focus area is because while entrepreneurship is very laudable, social entrepreneurship is even more, because it aims to create and sustain social values within a framework of business and profit and revenue and income generation. But for us, social entrepreneurship also means that it can be a very participative and collaborative model for entrepreneurship as a whole. And we do believe that by encouraging our students towards social entrepreneurship, we are actually incubating catalysts who will bring very lasting social change and social transformation. And I'm sure all of you will agree with me. We are in the phase of a new normal. So we do believe that activities towards social entrepreneurship can actually open out new avenues for not only employability, but also a whole lot of interpersonal and satisfaction at the level of a society. So we are also happy to inform that we will be starting a soft skill course. We'll be offering it from the next academic year, a soft skills course on gender concerns in social entrepreneurship, and we hope that we will be able to share that with all of you as well. So on that note, I welcome all of you once again, and we do look forward to our collaboration beyond today's webinar. Thank you.
Thank you, Bharati, for your wonderful introduction about the project. Now it gives me immense pleasure in welcoming our today's speaker, Ms. Vanati Devi, who is a partner at Vista Expedition, director at Tradewell Cargo Private Limited, and founder president CIAVIT, Southern Industrial Academy for Women Entrepreneur Development. I am very happy to introduce today's speaker before the August audience, and that too at this pandemic period. Need of the hour is today's talk. That is, today's topic is very, very ideal, and as far as the women empowerment is concerned, it's very ideal at this juncture. So I'm proud to invite our today's speaker and tell a few words upon about the speaker. And she got graduated in economics from Lady Doak College at Madurai, and she got her master's in business administration from the renowned Bharathiar School of Management and Entrepreneur Development at Bharathiar University, Coimbatore. And she has got various work experiences, starting from KG Hospital, then Cube Logistics Private Limited, then Kuhane Nagal etc. And in 2001, she started Vista Expedition with the tagline "One Stop Shop" to offer the global logistics under one roof. So Vista Expedition is headquartered at Chennai with its branch offices in Tuticorin, Mumbai and New Delhi, and having a global network of agents in almost all the countries of the world. Subsequently, Vista Expedition acquired Tradewell Cargo Private Limited, a reputed customs house agency since 1993 to cater the increasing demands of the market for qualified import customs broking. Vista Expedition has been under Vista Group of companies which handle shipping and forwarding. Tradewell Cargo Private Limited. This handles the customs clearance as well. She got various awards and the recognition, and some of them are she has been serving as honorary member in International Journal Editorial Advisory Board and governing boards of reputed social organization, and contributed enormously towards fostering entrepreneurship, education, and women development. She has been a reviewer to the refereed and index-edited volume titled Entrepreneurship and Management Research, published by National Foundation for Entrepreneurship Development on the 5th September 2015. And she has been awarded the Inspiring Woman Entrepreneur 2014 by the Akriti under Anna University, Chennai. So her awards and laurels are on and on, and I just want to stop here because we want to hear more from the mouth of our today's speaker. So I hand over the platform to Ms. Vanati. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Professor Swarnam, for the wonderful introduction. And first of all, I would like to extend very warm greetings and a very warm good evening to every one of you. And I would like to congratulate and thank the management of Madras University and my very long-term associate, Professor Bharati ma'am, for having invited me for this session. I really have to apologize to her because due to our various commitments, I keep on dragging. And she is quite persistent to loop me here actually on today. And so in a way, because I'm too happy to be with you, it is not like being busy or something like that, because just after the Corona times, business is just picking up. And all along we have been just having an empty office. Now the business is slowly picking up and shipments are started moving. We are facing problems in getting containers, clearances, jobs are all lined up. So when these things are coming up, obviously we get so much tied up with our business, and that is the only reason, not otherwise. So I would like to apologize to Madam for dragging on so long. And thank you, sir, Professor Godan Raman, sir, for your warm invitation for me. And so having said that, Madam had given me a wonderful introduction. And one thing probably, maybe I can explain more, because having started my entrepreneurial career in '92, and we have gone through, like, first I have worked with an Indian company, then I have worked with a multinational company, and I have seen the nuances, like how a multinational company will think in terms of business. For them, it is just money, nothing else. So the personal relationships or the credibility, the honesty hardly doesn't matter. So I'm not giving any sort of false allegations, but that is the fact, because they are coming into the country only because of making a business out of it. So this compassionate feelings and everything doesn't hardly play a role. But when you have been working in an Indian company, it is totally a different structure, because here we value the human values, we respect a person, because there are times where you don't even call a man by name. Actually, we have to either call them by sir or however it is. So even if he may be below your cadre, but still you will end up calling him sir, because calling them straight by name usually will not be accepted very well, because although you will not get a direct sort of an intervention, but indirectly you will get all sort of non-cooperation in your workplace. So that is how the gender equality or disequality happens. Almost even now, I think it happens now. So what happened is, having worked in an Indian company and then in a multinational company gives me a fairly good idea like what to respect and what not. We have to really have to stick on to it, because of course we are Indians, we are South Indians, especially we are women, and we care more for human values. So we cannot just let go of everything just like that. But at the same time, business is also an equally a tough and challenging role. We cannot just like that let go of our business activity just because I'm a woman. Because if I have to drape in a sari, I have to close my head and I have to be confined in a home, nothing is wrong, because I will still be considered as a woman. But at the same time, what is that I'm going to achieve? Because that sort of an emptiness is always there in every woman's mind. Whatever career they have been and whatever business.
Madam,
Ma'am,
connect-
voice is simple.
No, I think someone muted Vanati by mistake. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
yeah, I
sure.
think it is mutation.
Yeah.
Ma'am, you are in mute.
Okay. Okay. Now, can you hear me out?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Yes,
fine.
ma'am.
Fine. So I was just telling me about how it happens, the values what we lay on our system, because for our business and a career likewise. So because when we do a lot of introspection, we realize at one point of time, especially it happens just after the middle age, and especially when our husband, they have got a good career and they got well established, they keep moving around the city or the world. Sometimes we might accompany them, or many times we couldn't. And maybe our children, they finish their studies, they'll go abroad, or sometimes they get married and get to settle down in a different town. And that happens, that a huge vacuum will fill the home. And women who will be based here, they'll be thinking about all the wonderful things they have missed out in the younger age, the talents, the skills, the abilities, all those things, whatever they have been known for, whatever they have been appreciated for by their circle, by their relatives and their parents, all would have gone and sit in a box. So they will realize, they'll try to bring back all the skills, but it is too late. Maybe the body and the health may not help them to go for it. So why I'm saying this, all this is, yeah, one opportunity. Like every one of us wanted to take skills, we wanted to develop our skills, but at the same time, somewhere down the line, we lose our identity. And that is one thing we all have to be very careful, because the budding students are here. I don't look at all of you as students. I am only looking upon you as aspiring entrepreneurs, because entrepreneurship is something, an inbuilt quality of every woman. So, of course, the men over here have to excuse me, but I believe that entrepreneurial qualities is an inborn skill for every woman. And some had got an excellent opportunity, many have not got it. So that is a simple thing. Luckily for me, I got a supporting family, and so they have helped me in continuing with my skills. So that is one advantage. Maybe as long as we are persistent enough, probably we end up in not losing our skills. So why I'm saying this is, not every one of us, okay, thinking that, okay, I'm not qualified, I'm not good enough to be an entrepreneur. No, every one of us have got the quality to become an entrepreneur. And how you end up this is just to do a little introspection. That is what it matters. Just look around you. What are the skills you are good in? What are the skills you are not so good in? Try to improve the strong points. So that will help you to build up a suitable business model for yourself. And the topic today, what Madam had given me, is opportunities and avenues in entrepreneurship for women. So since it is particularly and specifically restricted to women, and since we are all based in the urban city, and especially from an academic institution, I would like to highlight, say, about 6 opportunities, which probably will be more suitable for the students here who are wishing to be an entrepreneur. And some of my friends from CIAVED are also here. So they also would be happy to continue with this business. So what I'm saying is, I'm just highlighting 6 opportunities, and what are the skills what we need to develop for building up this entrepreneurship. And many of the skills we already have it as an inborn thing, and a few things probably we need to develop further. So once you develop this, then this business model is ideally suitable for you. And Madam Bharati has rightly pointed out, and that was my view also. because academic institutions, by and large, because it is high time that institutions should come forward and reach up to the community. That is very, very important. And Madam had rightly pointed out this point. I'm very happy for it because she is also thinking in the same wavelength. Excellent, ma'am. So why I'm saying is, every institution, because gone are the days that institutions are separate and community is separate and business houses are separate. No, because earlier there was something called as an internship program where the college students have to necessarily go to a corporate house, do an internship. That was existing for the technical side. But if how about the other side, non-technical courses, the arts and science groups? So definitely you also have to necessarily plan in such manner that you should also see the society, understand the society, work with the society to see what sort of challenges are there. Because you have been wonderfully having a nice campus, you have all the resources, wonderful faculties are there. So with that, with their guidance, you can obviously go out and reach out to the community. And that is one thing, probably the students will definitely go for it. And as Madam had pointed out, with the colleges with whom I am associated with, because we are MOU partners for Anna University, Wales, Amet, and Dr. MGR. So with all of them, I'm highlighting only this point, that you better reach out to the community. We should conduct a lot of community outreach programs. So that is where you will also help. Apart from the entrepreneurship incubation cell, every college and university have, how are you going to put that into practice? Until and unless you make the students go out into the field, interact with the community. Okay, it is good that you interact with the corporates, but it is always good that you interact with the community. Find out what are the opportunities exist. So that is one way how you will find out. And it is, every institution should encourage their students to go forward and meet up with the community, identify the challenges, and help the other community people. That is what is social entrepreneurship is about. And that is a very fascinating thing. And my end of my presentation, I'm also having a nice wordings about it. I'll come back to that later. So now before we go into it, just like I have told you, some 6 basic activities what I thought will be ideal for students or startup entrepreneurs. If you ask me only, is this going to be the exhaustive list? No, it's not. But because of the paucity of time and also because of the simplicity of it, because unlike the men counterpart, many of the women, if they do some business, it is like this: as long as she is able to succeed, everyone will be appreciating. The minute if she fails, there will be a big crowd will be discouraging her. So what happens is, the first time when she gets discouraged, the second or third time she will be a little scared to take up the next step. So ideally what we will have to think about is, I'm just giving a few business ideas which will not be very challenging and which will not be very investment oriented, but at the same time it will synchronize with the values of our Indian women's nature. By nature, we women are all kind-hearted, we are gentle, and we are passionate about what we do, hardworking. So what are all the business ideas which will suit these sort of skills? So I have highlighted a few. Probably this will give you an idea of how you can develop this further. And these 6 opportunities, what I am discussing with you today, is ideally suitable for women. The reason is, it can be ideally be used for any type of business, and it can ideally be used in any sort of location. Ladies can get married and go to a different city or to a different country. Still, they can pursue this business model. And the ladies, they can still have the, maybe today they will be working in a company. So tomorrow she will be going and joining some other company or be at home. Still, the business model can be pursued. So with that, I will just have a small briefing about the opportunities of today, what I can share with you, and the scope and the skills that you may have to develop if you really wanted to go and pursue this business model. Just a sec, I'm sharing a small presentation. Just a sec. Can you all see the screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Yes.
fine. So the topic Madam had given me today is the opportunities and avenues in entrepreneurship for women. So like I told you, this is not an exhaustive list. Due to the limited time period, I have just taken some 6 opportunities, and we will just briefly touch upon what are all the skills required and what is the scope and the future for these business activities, and how well we can equip ourselves to take forward this business activity. Okay, this is an interesting statistics. When we just looked into this, what is the contribution of women in the business sector? And if you look at the whole of India, Tamil Nadu leads the list. 13.5% of women are business owners. And next comes Kerala, Andhra, West Bengal, and Maharashtra. Okay, so although our state remains on top, it's not a very comfortable situation, or we should not end up being happy because of it. It's just only 13%. It's not 50%, it's not 60%, or it's not 70%. So which means when you are going in a running race, okay, you will only be looking ahead to see that how many people are in front of you whom you have to compete, and you will not look behind to see how many are behind you, right? So that is the trend we should look upon. We should not be feeling happy and complacent because it is 13.5%, 51%, and that Tamil Nadu is number 1 in number of having business entrepreneurs. No, we still have a big gap, and this gap needs to be filled up. So whatever efforts we are putting in and whatever businesses that we are doing in, it's not sufficient, and still you have a whole lot of women entrepreneurs or potential women entrepreneurs still not exploring their fullest potential, and this is where we should lead to. Now, having said this, now you know where we need to progress further. Let us not be complacent. Let us move forward. Okay, here there is some 7 steps I have just listed down. Finding the right business for you. Okay, how do you find the right business? Like I told you, you will have to just see which you are suitable for. The first business opportunity which I think will be ideally suitable for women is the event management business, which obviously is having roughly about 40% of growth all over, and especially in India. So event management is a business model where you don't have to have a huge investment, where you don't have to have a huge infrastructure, but you only need to have a good networking skills, ideally suitable to build up what woman is capable of. Okay. Here I may just mention, just a second. Okay. So here the qualities of becoming an entrepreneur, I just listed down. Find the right business for you, determine if you should get an education, plan your business, find your business, network, sell your idea, market. Okay, this is just an idea of, okay, what are all the steps involved if you end up to become an entrepreneur. Okay, planning of course is important, and the networking, obviously it is a skill every woman used to have. So definitely it is not a bigger deal for women to become an entrepreneur. Now you will understand why I'm saying that women are ideally suitable to become an entrepreneur. And okay, here comes what motivates women to take up on entrepreneurship. So every woman like to work on something they love. So if it is going to be a repeat 9 to 5 job, and there is absolutely no freedom, and your boss always harasses you, and there is no nuances, no creativity, and maybe you will be getting paid adequately, and but how many of you will stick on to it? Of course, the students today, they will be inclined and they will be more interested to go for a high paid salary package. But over a period of time, you will realize money is not everything. So you will end up doing something where you will get enormous hasslements, and you will get a lot of abuse from your colleagues, peer groups, higher ups. You won't endure that for long. You definitely wanted to have a breakout. So that is where the thing comes in. So when someone is giving you an opportunity, when you do a business, you can do whatever you like. If I'm good in cooking, probably I'll do some business suitable for my cooking skills. If I'm good in talking, probably I will choose something where I can explore my oratorial skills. If I'm good in tailoring, or if I'm good in digital marketing, or if I'm good in social media, yes, I will find out a suitable business model according to it. So women invariably would like to break out on the stereotypes. I hope you all will agree. So when we go to a saree shop, we will never buy what everyone is buying. We only wanted to have a different, unique design. So we don't want to be having that sort of a stereotypes. We would like to put new and wonderful columns. We would like to prepare wonderful new type of variety of sweets, dishes. And when you have all this creativity, then why do you have to stick on to a mundane job just because you are getting a salary out of it? Okay. And then comes the push and pull factor. Sometimes you will be pushed, sometimes you will be pulled. Okay, so that is where sometimes you will get it. You will end up being in a job just because you have been wanted to support your family. Whether you like it or not, you have to end up doing it. But for how long? So at one after day, you will feel that emptiness, and to avoid that, it is better to choose up something where you don't have to retire, where you can innovate. You will be your own boss. Maybe the initial earnings may not be so big, but still you will have lots of satisfaction. And end of the day, you can comfortably work around the clock. So that is one reason many women are inspired to become an entrepreneur. And in a way, Tamil Nadu stands number one because the majority of the women here are economically empowered. And that is where our strength really lies upon. Now, the 5 tips I am giving for a successful woman, and define your goals. So every entrepreneur should practice turning their dreams into goals. So we all have a dream, and how many of us are realizing our dream into goals? That is the big question mark. We can give n number of excuses why we could not realize our dreams, but ultimately, when there is always a saying that you can give 100 excuses for not passing an exam, but you have to give only one answer for gaining the number 1 place. That's it. Hard work, determination, that will always take you to reach your dreams and to realize them. Here, when I say that negotiate for yourself, what I mean basically is you should know to take care of your health. You should know to take care of your own space, and irrespective of the commitments, irrespective of the spheres around you. That is what I mean by negotiate for yourself. So you should not live to regret that you haven't done this, you haven't done that at one point of time. So you should always know that when you are determined to do something, you always end up to take care of yourself. That is very important. That is what I mean by negotiating for yourself. And work hard, but be comfortable saying no. And this is one area majority of our women, we are not get used to. However much we have been dumped and loaded with work, we always will try to say, yes, I can do it, but later on cribble at the back of it. The simple reason is because that we are not used to saying no in front. It's better to say no and do whatever you can rather than accept everything and end up being a failure. And be smart with money, of course. So you will be your own boss. You want to buy something or you wanted to decide about your children's education, you have something on your own. And that gives you a tremendous freedom, both in your thought as well as in your expressions. And the one thing what I say, love is supporting other women. And this is what we do in our organization, where we are building up a community platform where that every woman have been, the only option is that they have to support their fellow women. When you support others, automatically you also get support from unknown sources. So that is what I always will expect every one of our entrepreneurs around us. And this, if you could follow all this, definitely this will be the tips if you for you being very successful in your career. Okay, now we are talking about the first business opportunity, which is event management business. And here, why I recorded is absolutely there is no need for an investment. So you only need to have the basic skills. What you need to have is, women by and large are pretty good in communication. They are pretty good in networking, and they are very, very good at planners, and they know how to do a crisis management. They will know the time management. They will be able to adjust and make sure that every one of us are happy. And those things ideally are suitable to become an event management business. And the scope is, maybe you all will be wondering, this is the corona situation and how are we going to have events? No, you can also think about the online events. For example, the event of today, the webinar, I can understand how much of time that Professor Swarnam sir, Godan Raman sir and Professor Bharati ma'am would have gone through for organizing this. So a simple thing is like, okay, the college themselves, they should have an event management team, and they should take care of the faculty in managing these events as per the expectations. What it needed is they should do a proper planning, they should do a proper coordination, networking, promotions, and then conduct of the execution. All this really matters. This gives you not only a practice, but also you will also learn a lot sooner, because event management need not be like a huge investment based one. Even if it is a kitty party, 5 people are there, you arrange for a kitty party, or if there is going to be 10 people are there, or if it is 50 persons, anyway, it is just the number of people that matters, that's it. But you only have a good networking skills. So this is all the skills. Every company needs product launch. Every company, whenever they are having a new product, they need an event to be organized. Theme parties, birthday parties, weddings, exhibitions. You will find out that in Chennai Trade Center, there are so much of exhibitions happening. And there are people who are just organizing this. They are finding out advertisers. There are people who are going in for taking up stalls. So all this comes under event management, workshops, corporate seminars. So music connects, road shows. So all this is part of the event management. If you look at it, all these skills, definitely all this scope for the business is existing in almost all the places. Whether you are today living in Chennai, tomorrow you may be in Bangalore, or in Delhi, or in Kolkata. But all this scope for this event management exists everywhere. So this is an ideal thing, provided once you know like how to do the networking and improvise on your communication, and do all this small events you can start with. And once you are familiarized, then go in for bigger ones. And so this is one thing I advocate, because this has got a huge scope and potential. Both online and physical events, they got a great scope, and ideally best suitable for women, and more so for the aspiring entrepreneurs from the students community. So this is the pre-event, during event, post-event. So maybe probably you will have to work out on what needs to be done. If you go with a proper checklist, take up the guidance of your faculty, then you are done with that. Okay. The second one, what I can advocate is this digital marketing agency. Okay, now all of us are digitally somewhat knowledgeable. I can't say that 200% fully, but most of us, and with this pandemic situation, almost all of us have been doing webinars, we have been participating, and we are also start promoting. Gone are the days when we are relying only on the TV, radios, and where we spend exorbitantly, or even the newspaper inserts or advertisements. Even the print media are now shifting of thinking their activities to something else. So that is where the opportunity for digital marketing. Every company, whether it is a small micro entrepreneur, or it is a big corporate houses, everyone needs digital marketing. And there are a lot of courses available. I'm sure your college will also be offering a lot of sessions, and several online courses are there. What it needed is like you should build up with a creativity. That is more important, because I've seen a lot of digital marketing companies, but they have their basic skills, but they lack the creativity and the connectivity with the customer and with the product. And those are all the nuances which, as a woman, you can do it better than as any men counterpart who are doing it. As a woman, you can make it fine-tuned in a more effective manner. The digital marketing will have a scope, not only for selling your product or service, but for every company, every organization. The budgets may be varying, but at the same time, what matters is like every one of us definitely need marketing support digitally, and definitely you will get a business come what may, whether it's the pandemic or whatever be the situation. And comfortably, more ideally, you can do all these businesses sitting at home. So if you have an office, well and good, or but at the same time, you can comfortably convert your home, a small part to your home, as an office area, and you can still continue with these activities. Okay, here I just mentioned about why companies use digital marketing. This is the ease for audience targeting, and low investment and high rate of returns, and reaching out to mobile users. There are so number of mobile users have increased over the period of time, and more so because of this pandemic situation that comes in. So this is where the things are. Now, before we buy a FMGC product, or if you wanted to buy any garments, or you wanted to book a ticket, gone are the days we will go to the respective shop or to the multiplex to see what movies are happening. No, we simply have to open an app, or we will have to just browse from the net and doing it. So definitely, so every company realizes this. So they all cannot do away without digital marketing, and there is a huge potential for you. And here I have mentioned is the one of the fastest growing industry in India. And because you can not only help the companies which are located in the urban side, but also smaller business and startups in India. So NASSCOM says the third largest startup ecosystem is India. And if this being the case, then every person, like when I can see you, each one of you as an entrepreneur, you can, when you move out of the street, you can see each one of people who are walking around are all going to be your customers if you start a digital marketing company. Okay, so more than half of customers discover companies through social media. So people who are in sales, and if I'm a company where I'm offering a service to a client, the first thing the client will look for is to see whether I have a website, and they will go through the website to see, do a review, and gone are the days people will come and visit our office, or neither we go and meet the clients. Of course, we do go out, but when they don't have to come to our office, they can simply visit our website, see who our bosses are, where our headquarters are, how long we are in the business, and they decide whether they want to give business or not. So strategically, digital marketing is one business which we can do away without it. And so in that case, this is very potential, because today's younger generation, almost every one of you got a digital smartphone with you. And apart from just browsing through some entertainment sessions and some other activities, make sure that you do a small bit of learning about what are the trends in digital marketing, and that will take you to a really bigger sphere at a later date. Okay, these are all something like the brand awareness, what all the companies do: paid research, organic research, email marketing campaigns, content marketing, webinars and podcast. And I'm sure most of you are aware of all these things. And I have also happy to notice that many students in many colleges are also doing part-time internship on all these digital marketing activities. So that is really a comforting tone, because rather than wasting their time on just unproductive means, they are also focusing more on their future, and that is something really commendable. And so here I just listed out some 7 steps of how you wanted to set up a startup company. Obviously, of course, you should have a company website, create a social media profiles, apply for the Google verification, and become Google partner, because reliability matters a lot. So it is like just like that, when someone walks into your doorstep asking for a product to be bought, you will not just like that entertain them. But obviously, you entertain a lot of businesses that are coming through Facebook or through Instagram. So those are the areas where you will definitely have to promote. And if you are already making up a small startup, make sure that you have a nice social media profile and get all your verifications and be a Google partner. And whenever you have done some projects from the freelancer websites, make it known to others that this is a project done by you, so that people can evaluate the quality and then decide whether they can assign the projects to you or not. So this is what I will ask about it. And then these are all the skills required. What are all the areas: constructing messages and positioning, learning systems like HubSpot and Salesforce. See, all these things, when you look at it, this is all ideally you can do it from home. And this doesn't require big investment except for some your data usage. So, and you can bring in tremendous productivity if you are adapting this to your advantage. And the third one I can say is about the e-commerce. So e-commerce, again, it has got a growing demand, and it has got attractive opportunities. So the government is also quite favorable towards the e-commerce site. And when they are talking about the Digital India, Make in India, Startup India, Skill India, and so a lot of schemes are coming forward. And today, if you wanted to buy a grocery or if you wanted to buy any product, the first thing we are looking to is that either we'll see either in the Flipkart or in the Amazon or in Big Bazaar. So those are the situation now. So we don't no longer go to this Maliga shop, which is on the lower side of our street. So this is the situation. So why don't we get adapted to that? So here you can sell anything and everything. So sometimes you can sell when there is a demand, but many times we can sell if you do a proper presentation. That is what an effective salesman will be doing. So if you are too good in your selling activity, you can still end up selling a product or a service which the customer no longer actually need it. So that can be done only when you are doing promoting through an e-commerce. You would have seen a lot of products. You would have seen even like what you will call this as the bamboo sticks, and you will see the neem sticks, which is being sold as toothbrushes in the foreign countries. So all those are coming in, and there are still people buying for it. So what do you think it is a valueless product in India? What you hardly look at even for the one time at least, it is all selling like hotcakes in foreign countries. So why don't you explore that? Why don't you build up your skills on e-commerce? Why don't you set up a small e-commerce site, and maybe you can start doing a small level of selling through your college and maybe among your friends, and see how it happens. You get an exposure and you get a small amount of revenue, which will add up to your greater level of practice and experience. So the future prospects I'm saying is, again, they are all having an impact with the MSMEs, and in terms of financing, technology and training, and they have a favorable cascading effect on all other industries as well. So if you can just build up, and anyone can build up an e-commerce site. So it is so simple. You will find lot of apps, and there are a lot of people who will also educate you how to set up an e-commerce platform. What is more important is how effective you are in selling the products through this e-commerce platform, and there comes your creativity, and there comes your efficiency. Okay, this looks so simple actually, the senior care services, but this is having so much of importance, and you will not realize that this will fetch you enormous amount of productivity in due course. For example, I can tell you, because I got a call from my friend in US, and she is actually a doctor, and she has got a friend of her whose parents are all living in Chennai, and he has got an information that their parents are not getting vaccinated because there is not enough supply of vaccines. She called me to ask, okay, if this is the situation, are you getting vaccinated? Why don't you have enough surplus or something like that? No, I'm surprised. No, vaccines are all available and people are vaccinating regularly, and how come these people are not getting it? But they don't have anyone. These seniors are living alone and they don't have anyone, and they have been just saying that no, we are seeing in the news that the vaccines are not available, that it has to come from Delhi or Pune, so we are just waiting, we don't get any confirmation. So obviously when you look at it, it so happens that since they don't have any sort of an external support, they just look into the TV, see that there is no enough supply of vaccines, and then they are not getting vaccinated. But in reality is like, okay, maybe in the private PSCs and hospitals you may have the scarcity, but in private hospitals you end up paying some 1,000 rupees or so, you can get vaccinated. This simple information is not available to them, and for this person in US who have been going from pillar to post asking for some help, who can do that. See, why I'm narrating is, this is actually a simple example. This happens everywhere. Seniors living alone with their children living abroad, and maybe sometimes the couple will be staying together, or sometimes either the mother or a parent will be staying alone. They need lot of services, and sometimes they will have a specific type of food. Sometimes they will have some sort of a specific requirement in terms of social literacy, digital literacy is there, some outside work will be there, banking are there. I'm saying that you don't have to do it by yourself. You can ideally engage a small team. Okay, there are a lot of people who are compassionate. Keep them together and create a network. Of course, creating an app is so simple. You can create an app. So in this locality, wherever locality you are, supposing if you are living in Krompet, you can set up a small forum whereby reliable helpers are available for senior care. So these helpers they should be verified for their credentials. They should be safe with the grand people, and they should ensure that whatever help is required, these people should extend for it. So they know just like that when to call if there is an emergency, if they need a medical help, or if they need a proper food, or if they wanted to have some other external activity. So this business is booming around. There is one company actually who are actually started up with the food truck business, and they supply only dietary food to the senior people. So this is also a growing business, and because of the nuclear families which are all budding up, it so happened that most of the families, they have their elderly parents living alone, and if there can be some sort of a business, it can be a business activity. It is not the money that matters for them ultimately. So every one of them are affordable situation, but what matters is that they don't have anyone to do the helping and to do the errands. So if you could organize and set up a small unit like this in your locality, you can be at home. You only have to act as a call center. Make sure they get the required things, and periodically you can do a supervision, and that's it. So, and if you have some free time, you can also go visit there, be with them for a while, and that will give you a comfortable peace of mind, both for you as well as for the seniors. So this is definitely a business opportunity, and this does not involve too much of investment, but what needs is some appreciating the human values. This is a skilled manpower agency. This is almost similar to what I'm talking about the seniors. Now, how many of us, we are still facing, if there is, we need an electrician, we need a plumber, we need a welder, but we don't know where to get. We will be telling our mates to find someone. Sometimes he or she will find a good person. Many times they'll find someone who will just damage the structure instead of doing sort of rectification. See, there is some time back, there was one app actually, Urban Clap. I think most of you will have heard about it. So they did a good service, but ultimately they couldn't do a proper management. So that is where they failed. But all these businesses, you cannot initially think of spreading all over the city or all over the country. Think small first to start with this. Since you are taking up a first step, make sure that you cover only your small locality, a smaller area, maybe in and around your locality first time. And when you identify people who are skilled in a particular activity, and then group them together, give them proper vaccination if required, and make sure that they follow a particular uniforms and they have been hygienically maintained. So all these things, and they should also be careful, they should be reliable, and they should not have any sort of illegal activities behind them. So if you could create a group like this, I'm sure most of us would love to have something like this. And if it is really run by a woman, and who will be in charge of this. Today, a lot of security agencies are being run by women. So this is also one area. When I cannot afford to give, wait for someone to come to my house, sometimes, many times, we will be waiting for the AC technician to come and do the job. He will say he will come at 8 o'clock, but he will end up coming at 4. And you will be waiting at home for the whole day, waiting for that person, because if you don't wait, and if he comes and if you leave him, then that night you will have to sleep without an AC. So this is one area probably you all have to make sure. It may look seemingly simple, but it is a very vital role. Probably what you are doing now is just creating a platform whereby the people who are already skilled enough, otherwise they are not getting enough jobs. You will find, maybe if you do some sort of a questionnaire, or you can do a review. The electricians who has been staying around, how many jobs he is getting every day, how much he gets on a monthly basis. He is finding it too difficult to meet up his ends. If that being the case, why don't you create a business opportunity out of it? So I'm telling you, today the scope remains like you don't have to necessarily own everything. You only have to know how to manage things. And that is where your success lies. The Uber and Ola is a reality example that you can see. So there is a platform where they don't own any cars, but a majority of the drivers are in their payroll. How is this? Because they find out a need, and they have created a system whereby now today, I don't think that any of us are having a smartphone without an Ola or Uber app. And that is how you should also become indispensable once your services are appreciated, and make sure that you are consistent enough. That is very, very important. The one drawback usually women have been accused with is that they are never consistent. And one time they will do, many times they won't. So if you could just to overcome that difficulty and that weakness, then you will definitely be the queen, actually. So this is what I have covered on this masonry and steelworking. All these unorganized structure people, if they can be brought together under an organized umbrella, you will have a good business opportunity. Okay, this is coming to the last tag of our presentation. I'm talking about the social entrepreneurship. Professor Bharati ma'am has actually touched upon this topic, but I would like to make it as also my last but not the least topic. You might be wondering, well, if you say that social entrepreneurship, how can you make it as a business model? Okay. It doesn't mean that actually like yeah, we all end up spending whatever the money that we have on our community serving and like that. Social entrepreneurship has got a different meaning actually. Sorry. Here, there is a definition. Entrepreneurship is an approach by individuals, groups, startup companies, or entrepreneurs in which they develop, fund, and implement solutions to social, cultural, or environmental issues. See, here what I'm saying is the women self-help groups. They stand an ideal example for a social entrepreneur model. But this can be ideally be developed because women with their innate nature, they can form small, multiple diversified groups, and each one can contribute on something. For example, I can say that in our organization, this Southern Industrial Academy for Women Entrepreneurs, so we have a group whereby we form smaller groups. We have each one will be doing a different activity. So they will form small groups, and there will be one team leader, and it is the responsibility of the team leader to interact with each of the members. Make sure that what is the business they have transacted and how, because within business have to be generated within, and collectively they can also develop one another's business. For example, I'm a freight forwarding professional, so I know almost a majority of the freight forwarding activities and the details about customs clearance. And if I go and sit with the customer, maybe the customer says that right now I don't have a requirement for freight forwarding, but I am looking for an excellent caterer, someone who can, we have a corporate function coming forward and I'm looking for an excellent caterer. Can you recommend someone? I will definitely go with someone of your choice. So if that being the case, what will you do? So if you are restricted only to this particular line of activity, you hardly can do any sort of a suggestion. You simply say, I will find out and let me know, sir. And many times you won't be able to find out or let him know. But what happens is, like, if you look around, you form small groups and each one doing something, you will find out a good caterer, someone who has done an excellent job for your home functions, and you are very happy with the taste and the hygienic presentation and everything. Definitely you will recommend him or her to someone of your choice. So this is how what we refer as a social entrepreneurship. Rather than doing a business for ourselves, let us do a business for others. And I'm sure many of the educated youth today are going towards this sort of a direction only. You all would have heard, I think at least many of you would have heard about the Kira Kadai. So the Kira Kadai is actually an innovative venture by an IT professional by name Mr. Sridhar. And he had been in the IT industry, and then he let go of that job. And what he had started to do is selling Kira. So you'll all be surprised to know how can an IT professional let go of his job and start selling Kira? But that is what he does. And he is doing a booming business. You know how a lot of the IT professionals, they'll all be sitting on the offices working till late night. And often what happens is the ladies, when they are going home, pick up water vegetables on the way and then reach home for the next day's cooking. So he comes out with a wonderful innovative idea that he will drop out a mail first when he was working in the IT company, that today what are all the greens are available which can be bought under office itself. So when they leave, they can pick it up from the gate of the office. How he managed that? He had group of farmers and to make them grow organically raised Kira. So it is not having any sort of pesticides or synthetic fertilizers that will harm our health. It is all organically produced. And he creates some variety also, and he requests them to make a email to him that what Kira you want, you have to email to him, and you get it the next day. So this is the model what he has developed. So what I'm trying to say is that however small the idea is, how you are going to execute makes the difference. And we used to have a weekly webinar on Saturdays. And on Saturdays, we will be presenting a different business idea, some innovative business ideas. And one of the speakers there, he came and do a presentation because he's selling only buttermilk. So in fact, many of us were surprised. How can a person make an earning out of selling buttermilk? Yes, he is making it. Then he is questioning us when you can buy a coffee at which is available in the road shop for 10 rupees or so. You can pay in this Coffee Day or in some other big companies with bigger business levels. then why can't I sell my buttermilk? He has got 20 varieties of buttermilk, and he has got a roaring business in Thiruvarkad. Why I'm saying this, all this is because ideas may be simple, but how you are going to execute this and what is your vision towards that makes a difference. And today, the women especially, will be knowing about a lot of localities, and you will be knowing about a lot of people with the various skills. But unfortunately, not many of them are tech savvy. They may not be having your smartphones, or they do not have a website, but nevertheless, they are pretty good in their skills and the products they make or they manufacture. What you can do is probably you can help them to market those products, because if you are well versed in social media, after your little enjoyment in your entertainment, make sure that you help them to market their product. It can be anything. It can be a small organic millets, or it can be some flours, or it can be kira like what Sridhar was selling. It can be anything, but still you can end up helping them to market their product. So fortunately, we are all gifted to have a little bit of education, and we are fortunately covered by learned academicians around us. But majority of our brothers and sisters are out there in the community with not so much of gifted blessings. So why can't we extend our support and contribution towards them? And you don't have to give them money, you don't have to donate them, but you can only share your skills and experience. By helping them, you are also helping yourself in building up your entrepreneurial skills. So this is what I wanted to say about if you are wanting to build up as a social entrepreneur. Write a mission statement, research the field, what field that you wanted to choose of, conceptualize your unique offering, reach out to team members for feedback and support, develop your business model, and identify initial funding sources. And here I can also tell about a friend of mine who is actually, what he is doing is, he is collecting with all the rural women, and he makes them to do this divas, the lamps and the Raksha Bandhan rings. So all this he puts together and make it into a nice gifted item. So all this you can think of as an innovative model. So this is what I'm saying about if you wanted to end up as a business social enterprise, you can do it and you can share it among your friends, and definitely it will be a pinnacle in your career growth. So I would like to conclude with this saying that whatever the education that you have, build up your skills and never say no to your training. Gain experience by enrolling us with the entrons with other companies of your choice. You wanted to do a business in freight forwarding, take an internship with a freight forwarding company. Whether they pay or not, don't bother. You get to learn about the business. So likewise, so develop a solid business plan, be positive and never fear fear. So my tagline is perseverance always pays, and that is what had been paying me so well and for so long. And I wish that with this perseverance, you all end up being a very successful entrepreneur very soon. So with that, I would like to wind up my session. I would like to thank for all your patient hearing and thank the management of Madras University for having given me this wonderful opportunity.
Wonderful, ma'am. Wonderful. Really, I should thank Professor Bharati ma'am for introducing our speaker today, because she has given a very nice brainstorming session, and in fact many eye-opening avenues she has opened to the young budding entrepreneur in our audience, as an audience. And I just wanted to mention some of the things what madam has given us. First, she has really pointed out very nicely about the nature and skills of each and every woman by standing in their own shoes. So that is really very, very appreciable, ma'am. And the interest in creativity and thinking of each woman, she has given a very clear picture. Even in cooking or selecting a saree, she gave a very beautiful image of each female mentality. A lot of avenues for becoming an entrepreneur she has enlisted very nicely, and very well narrated about the today's webinar conducting issue, what we have faced. She just immediately she just grabbed and then she just told what difficulty we faced and immediately how things were getting cleared. that she was able to point it out. And the business opportunity related to digital marketing, she has elaborately listed the steps for starting the digital marketing agency. And of course, she has given the opportunity that is available in e-commerce. And senior, of course, the very, very appreciable avenue she has mentioned is the senior care services. Really, that is a wonderful avenue, ma'am. You have given a clear picture, and she has narrated wonderfully about creating the network for helping the requirement of today's senior people. And of course, not only that, very closely related to that line, like skilled manpower agency, that is also need of the hour. So she has mentioned very nicely, like finding electrician or plumber, etc. And rightly, she has pointed about the one agency like Urban Clap. Of course, we also got benefited by that agency. It's a very good service, ma'am, because we are all in need of that only. Because all like running behind the time, we don't have time to look after our own home to clean or call the person to do the AC service, etc. So you have given a very clear picture, ma'am, and how to manage things, and how, of course, to begin that, we should make a survey what really is needed in that particular locality. That is also a very good thing you have told, ma'am. And of course, you have explained about that social entrepreneurship, women's self-help group, and of course, the highlight is the Kirakada. Really wonderful, ma'am. And with a very small ignition, that person is able to start a very good business. Of course, the buttermilk vendor also the same kind. So very small thing only, spark only they are getting, and with that they are expanding like anything. Thank you so much, ma'am, for having come in your busy schedule. And of course, I should say that almost all the audience in this group will definitely contact you, and they are going to pester you for giving your ideas and to attend the webinars what you are conducting, ma'am. Thank you so much, and thank you all.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for your nice words.
Yeah, and now I call upon Manjula to give the vote of thanks.
Now, let us see any questions. Anybody?
Yeah, if there are any questions, we can definitely take them.
Yeah.
I see a couple of hands there. I think there is one Mrs. Sendil Kumar who has raised his hands.
Yeah.
If he has any questions, he can please unmute himself and ask the question before we move on to the vote of thanks. Sendil sir, is there a question?
No question, ma'am. No question.
Okay. If there are any questions, we'll definitely like to take them.
I thank the resource person, ma'am. I thank the resource person for excellent presentation regarding entrepreneurial opportunities, especially women. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Sendil sir.
Is
there anybody else?
Yeah.
One thing, first of all, thank you so much for that. So, the perseverance paid, because, I'm happy I persisted and we could listen to you today. Only one very nagging doubt, because, see, there are very few role models whom women can look up to very often. So what happens is, when see our own students, soon after their graduation, we do hear that they are exploring possible avenues in entrepreneurship. But 1 or 2 years later, when we meet them up, they come back and say, no, I'm going to continue my education. I'm going to get into a job. So there I get a feeling that somewhere along, the first failure for a woman who's an entrepreneur, it becomes very difficult to pick themselves up, take that risk again and move on. So if you can outline what CIAVET is doing towards that, because, I do see a whole lot of webinars that you're organizing in CIAVET, and, when I look at the topics and the brief, I always feel here is something that people who have tried and probably not succeeded in need to come back and take forward. So if you can very quickly, outline that aspect to us, please.
of course, I wanted to actually touch the topic, but since the topics, whatever we have been discussing, is going a little beyond the time, and you all would have been having a very long day, so I wanted to cut short my presentation looking at the time. But I'm happy that Professor Bharati had given me an opportunity to elaborate on that. See, actually, what I wanted to do through CIAVED is, it is only out of my own passion. I started CIAVED in the year 2013 as a non-profit organization. And so until now, we have not been taken any sort of sponsorships from anyone else. It has been solely and fully funded by me, by our organization, Vista Expedition and Tradewell Cargo. And the reason why we want been doing it is, I've been seeing lot of opportunities which are available scattered around both in India and abroad. When we travel abroad, we find lot of opportunities there exist. Whenever I look at things, I see that okay, there are a lot of opportunities, but how much can I choose? I have already 2 big companies to manage, and that is tiresome with my family commitments. But there are wonderful opportunities that exist, and when we have been associated with many corporates, and there are a lot of opportunities, even the corporates extend to us. But nevertheless, our ladies are still have a long way to maintain their professionalism, to upskill themselves, and to manage how to handle things professionally. So that had given a rise towards starting up CIAVED, so that just to empower yourself more professionally. So collectively we can do wonders, and that is my focus. So we try to get corporate business outsourcing, and all the foundations are supporting us. But fortunately or unfortunately, not many of our ladies are still gearing up to that mark of supplying to corporates. So they have to go a long way in building up a corporate vendorship. So that is my request to Professor Bharati ma'am and to all the honored dignitaries here, that if we could also help having some students to be as a team leaders, because all these community women, they are not fortunate enough to have this sort of education or the resources that you all have, your students are having. Probably you can help these students to lead up the team, and because we can secure orders, but nevertheless these orders are not being properly processed, because the ladies have got lot of inabilities which they could not fill up to it. They have their passion, but they still have to go through a lot of skills and abilities to meet over this. That is where probably the colleges, the academic institutions can play a role. And tomorrow, the world is only for those people who are willing to merge and who can willing to go for acquisitions. That is the order of the day. Because with this pandemic, all small units, they have all been wiped off. The big companies are going in for acquisitions and mergers. So only the mid-sized organizations are somehow managing. And if this being the case, why not we make our students to be more socially responsible, to take up these community outreach programs? Because we are not only just as presenters, and we have also executed a project. We have just recently tied up with Watson Envirobiotech. I think Madam will be aware of it. Our last webinar was that. So he had come out with a wonderful project of water purifiers, which is a standalone model without electricity and zero water wastage. And whereas it maintains all the nutrients, and it is pretty good for rural community and tribal people who are not having this regular water supply or the electricity problems. So we are partnering with them to promote it all over Tamil Nadu to start with, and especially to reach out to all the tribal villages and the rural women who will be the worst affected because of water scarcity. And we don't want to be just as preachers, we also wanted to be as doers. And this is first step towards it, and we have taken up this responsibility. I'll be happy if your institution and the team members can also partner with us, and let us make the community build up, because getting hygienic and proper water and sanitation is the basic fundamental right of every Indian, that we are living in India. So that is what I strongly believe. That's about it.
Thanks so much. But certainly we will take up this idea of academic collaboration, where our students can in fact go spread the awareness and do a bit of advocacy as we move on. Certainly on that, I think I will reach out and get back to you.
Sure.
Very, very soon.
Yeah, it will be a pleasure if we can join hands on that. Thank you.
Certainly. Thank you.
I think there's more or less like the same line that ma'am was asking. There is one more question in the chat box. If we can quickly take that and take that as the last question, perhaps. Can I read it out, ma'am?
Oh, yeah, please.
Yeah, it's from Mr. Vimal Raj, and he's asking, ma'am, generally as entrepreneurs, we have to face a lot of obstacles, mainly from family as well as society. For a woman, it's two worlds. While facing abuse, it's a kind of a demotivational situation. And what qualities does a woman need to overcome all these? And in which way can she prepare herself and create a proper place for herself in the society? Perhaps the entire session has been on that. Anyway, ma'am,
Yeah.
I'll just leave it to you for your
Yeah,
comments.
of course. Just a few words about it. Actually, that is actually the situation of majority of women today. And madam was also saying that, okay, we'll have a role model at some point of time. We tend to get that dissolved because of your career commitments. So my simple suggestion is never look for a role model outside. You all are your own role models. Just like there is something saying that every human will have a positive side as well as a negative side. So when you have your positive side, try to shine up more. And when you see a negative side from someone else, and if you have a negativity in that, try to remove that and add up to that positivity. So you build up your own role model, and you never let go of your fire of having your own identity. As long as you keep this fire ignited, you will never lose focus on whatever happens. And that is the reason why today women entrepreneurs are celebrated worldwide, because they are able to overcome all these obstacles from the family, from the community, from the society. And if they're able to be successful, that is where we are celebrating the Women's Day, and we are all celebrating the women entrepreneurs only because of that. There is no pain, there is no gain. That's as simple as that.
Absolutely.
Absolutely, ma'am. Thank you so much. So, can I go ahead with the
Yes.
final part of the?
Yes, please.
Yeah. It's indeed an honor and privilege to do the most pleasant and the pleasant task of recording my gratitude and appreciation to all those who have contributed and have been part of this endeavor of this webinar. First of all, I would like to thank the Almighty for making it possible for all of us to join and come together for a very pleasant evening of sharing and learning. It was really wonderful listening to you, ma'am. I would like to thank the Innotel project team, especially Dr. Gregana, for supporting this webinar through their association. My thanks are due to our university administration, to our Vice Chancellor, Dr. Gauri, and our Registrar, Dr. Madhivanan, for their relentless support in every program of ours. But for us, their support, it is impossible for us to conduct a series of programs like this. Our Vice Chancellor in particular has been very much appreciative, and he supports every effort to tap and nurture latent entrepreneurial skills through various initiatives like this. Of course, I'll be failing in my duty if I do not honor the star of the day, Miss Vanati Devi, partner at Vista Expedition, director at Tradewell Cargo Limited, and founder president at Siavet, for her excellent talk on opportunities and avenues in entrepreneurship for women. I think the highlight of her talk, and I think all of you will agree, that she was simply practical and very pragmatic in putting all the business opportunities that women have. I think after listening to her wonderful talk, all the women who are here and the men who are here would expect their the women in their lives to simply spread their wings and fly high, because they would understand that sky is also not a limit for their aspirations and the heights that they can touch. Women entrepreneurship perhaps works and it's caught our imagination because it has the emancipating power of change, a power of change for the society. And I think that is what so beautifully Vanati was able to highlight through her talk today. And I think she was able to impress upon the need for women to cling on to their little dreams, work towards that, and achieve the goal that they have set out for themselves. It's certainly going to help revitalize the energy of all those who are listening to you. And I think there is a lot of scope for women-driven entrepreneurship and entrepreneurial enterprises today. So thank you, ma'am, from the bottom of my heart for taking your time and doing the honors of giving us a very informative and an excellent session today. My thanks are due to Dr. Kodandaraman, who has been instrumental in getting the Innotel project at the University of Madras. He is the Deputy Director at the UGC HRTC. He is also the project manager for the Innotel project here. Sir is a person who is highly quality conscious and works with almost unbelievable dedication in every assignment that he takes up. And that is perhaps what has made this Innotel project also so successful. So thank you, sir, for all the initiatives that you have taken and for also giving me this opportunity to be a part of this organizing this webinar. My thanks are due to Dr. Bharati Harishankar, Director UGC HRDC, Professor and Head of the Department of Women's Studies. She is an inspiring woman herself. She's got such a wonderful personality that I'm always in awe whenever I meet her and every opportunity that I get to interact with her. First of all, thank you for identifying and bringing such an excellent and exuberant resource person for the day. So thank you, ma'am, for that. And of course, I must admit that she is herself a person who is highly articulate and very meticulous. So she carries a lot of entrepreneurial skills herself. Thank you, ma'am, for the opportunity, and thank you for explaining to the audience the purpose and the objectives of the Innotel project. I'd also like to thank Dr. Sarnam, who is a professor from the Computer Science Department. She is also one of the coordinators and the principal investigators for the project, the Innotel project. A person who is very simple but has a lot of high thinking. I think she has very well taken up this program, and she has shouldered along with me a lot of responsibilities and made this evening possible for all of us. Thank you, Dr. Sarnam. My thanks are due to Mr. Shakti Vigneshwar, my research scholar, who has helped me in stitching this program together. But for his support, it would have been really difficult for me to get my hands on all the little things that we need to get for such a program to be in place. Last but not the least, I would like to thank all the participants. But for your enthusiastic participation, programs of this definitely will not see the light of the day. So thank you all for joining us for a wonderful session like this. And we are really grateful to all of you. And we really look forward to each of your support for all our programs in the future too. I would also like to thank all those who have joined us on the live YouTube streaming today for the program. Please do not forget to fill the feedback link which is posted here, because that serves as your attendance and will be helpful in sending the certificates across to you. If I have left anyone, I think it's only an error. I really apologize for that. Thank you one and all for joining us. Have a great evening. Thank you.
Thanks, Manjula, again for doing the honors.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Always my pleasure, ma'am. Always my pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Vasanthi, Madam, and thank you for
Vanadhi,
excellent. Vanadhi, sorry, Vanadhi, Madam. So for your excellent presentation and also your motivational speech, I think we can see many of the young entrepreneurs through your.
Definitely.
Not only women, even the man also will get it. Myself got some motivation to start some entrepreneur.
Okay.
That was very
much.
motivating, very motivating indeed.
Yeah,
Thank
so
you. Thank you.
On behalf of Innotel project partners, I sincerely thankful to Dr. Manjula and her research scholars and the team for arranging this conference very successfully. And I am also very happy to share with you all that we are planning to organize an international conference on social entrepreneurship. So most probably September 23rd and 24th, we have fixed the dates, and most probably we will confirm it and we will circulate to all the participants whoever participated in this program. And we are going to get many international experts, and also, of course, we are definitely inviting Madam also for that conference as a keynote speaker, so that she will again come and give her thing. So I'm looking forward to meet you all once again. Thank you very much. Very kind of you. Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, it's really a honor to be here. And a person whom organizing weekly events, I know how difficult for you all amidst your busy academic schedule to arrange for around 90 persons in total and the amount of arrangements. So it all says that it is only the tip of the iceberg. But I can see that you all would have put in so much of efforts. So my sincere thanks and appreciation to one and all, and the management, Godhanraman sir, Bharati ma'am, and Swarnam ma'am and Manjula ma'am for the wonderful organization. Wishing you all the best.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And
Thank
we
you
look
so
forward
much.
to
Thank you
seeing
so
you
much.
in September, Vanati.
Surely,
Yeah.
sir. Surely,
Yeah.
madam. I'll be
Okay.
looking forward. Thank
Sure.
you. I'm signing off.
Bye-bye. See you.
Bye, ma'am. Bye.
Yeah.
Good evening, ma'am.
Thank you so much. Thank you all of you for joining. I request the
Ma'am, good
participants
evening.
once again to please fill in your
Thank you
feedback
so
form.
much, Dr. Manjula ma'am and resource person. Very good presentation. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you,
sir.
Senthil sir. Thank you, Senthil sir, for joining.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
your
Thank you.
coming. Thank you so much.
Thank
So
you.
participants, please do fill in the feedback form. If there is somebody who wants to unmute yourself and share some feedback, we really would appreciate that. If anybody would like to speak, yes, you're welcome to do it. The feedback link is already posted in the chat box. May I request Shakti to please once again post it, please. The feedback link is posted. Please fill the feedback form before you leave. I hand over the